Hi guys, welcome back to my 2024 makeup collection declutter series. Today we are tackling all things eye. All eye products with the exception of magnetic singles and depotted shadows, which we will be doing in a separate video. But today we are going to be looking at my single potted cream shadows, eyeshadow sticks, eyeliners, brow products, lash products, and we're even going to take one more quick look at my eyeshadow palettes. I did do an eyeshadow palette declutter a month or two ago, so I don't need to do like a thorough palette declutter, but I think I have at least one palette that I want to get rid of. But let's go ahead and start with my cream and liquid eyeshadows. I don't think this is going to be a super ruthless category, but I think there are a couple of things that I want to weed out of here. These are my eyeshadow primers and eyeshadow bases. We have the Milani eyeshadow primer, which is one of my all-time favorites. I think this is just such a great everyday eyeshadow primer. It keeps most eyeshadows in place all day long with no creasing, unless the formula of the eyeshadow is not long wearing to begin with. Like some of my cream shadows still don't hold up over this, but this is a good just standard eyeshadow primer. I do want to keep this and use it up. I've been also playing with this Sigma eyeshadow base primer that they sent over a few months ago. This is in the shade Ignite. This is just a matte eyeshadow stick that has just like a light, slightly warm tone, like peachy toned color to it. I think this does a good job keeping eyeshadows in place, and this does lock into place. The problem I have with this is that it just looks really dry and cakey on my eyelids. Even if I go in with a very small amount of it, for some reason it just looks really dry on my eyelids, and I don't even have particularly dry eyelids. So I just don't think this is quite right for me, but hopefully I can pass this on to somebody else who will enjoy it more. So that I'm going to declutter. And then this is such an oldie. This is the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk. This has been around for ages. I don't think this NYX Jumbo pencil formula holds up to some of the newer, more long-wearing eye pencils that have come out. This does not set down. It doesn't really dry the same way that the Sigma one does, or like a lot of my eyeshadow sticks will, eventually lock into place and stay put. This doesn't really do that. So you definitely have to apply it over an eyeshadow primer if you're wearing it all over the lid. I really don't use this often, but I do think a white base is useful to have to either use as a base under pastel shadows. Honestly, I just never, the pastels that I like the most don't require a white base. They pop just fine over a regular eyeshadow primer. The only other use I might have for this is like if I want to do a winged liner with a colorful powder shadow, it's nice to lay this down first, and then the color that goes on top of it really pops. I actually have a nude eyeliner pencil from Essence, which will be in the eyeliner category, but this is the Essence Extreme Lasting Eye Pencil in Silky Nude. And I'm thinking, even though this isn't white, it would work the same way if I wanted to do a colorful powder eyeshadow as winged liner. This could work the exact same way as a base for that. Actually, I think I can declutter this NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil. I don't even remember the last time I used it, and I just really don't think there's a need for it to keep taking up space in my collection. So I'm just going to keep my one eyeshadow primer and then declutter these other two eyeshadow bases. Alright, next let's look at my eyeshadow sticks. I have a few different brands here in this category. First up are these Kaja Wink Dazzle eyeshadow sticks. So these are dual-ended. They come with a retractable eyeshadow stick on one end, and then on the other end you have this stamp, this glitter stamp, which is pretty cool, but at the same time, I heard Lauren May Beauty saying this too, and I was like, you are so right. You have to, in order to get more glitter onto the stamp, you have to screw it all the way back down and then take it out. Otherwise, you can't just go like this, or it's really hard to get out more of the glitter. So I don't know how in love I am with this format, although it is a fun concept. So I have two shades. We have Mocha Sparkle and Peach Sprinkle. Mocha Sparkle is matte and Peach Sprinkle is more of a satin color. And then I'll also swatch the glitter along with these. Those glitter stamps are so pretty. They have so much dimension to them, and they have just a beautiful wet look to them. The problem I have with these is that the eyeshadow sticks really don't set down. They don't lock into place. So I do have to wear them on top of my Milani eyeshadow primer, which does help with the wear time. It also helps to apply powder eyeshadow on top, but even still, I will often get creasing with these. The thing is, Mocha Sparkle specifically, I love this shade, and I don't have another eyeshadow stick in this type of shade. And so I think I'm going to keep Mocha Sparkle because honestly, I'm willing to look past the poor staying power because I love the shade so much. I also think another thing that helps with the wear time is just applying a very thin layer. You don't want to like really layer this up or else that will make it more prone to creasing. Obviously a very finicky product that I wouldn't necessarily recommend, but because I have it in my collection, I'm going to keep Mocha Sparkle. I don't feel nearly as attached to this Peach Sprinkle shade. I just don't think this shade is as pretty, to be honest. Like, I don't know. I just don't like this satin colored peach shade. It almost just ends up looking more of like a warm rose gold, and I have other warm rose golds in my cream eyeshadow collection. Plus I have some other peach eyeshadow palettes, like the Kaja eyeshadow stack in Peach Madeline. Love that, and I actually feel like I can get a really similar look with that little trio. So I'm going to declutter Peach Sprinkle but keep Mocha Sparkle for now. If an eyeshadow stick that has better staying power in this type of color comes along, I would consider passing this along as well, but until then, I will keep it and use it. So then I have two from the brand Hard Candy. This is the shade Pony. I'll just swatch these on my arm. This is a really pretty cool purpley taupe. Then we have the shade Stoned, which is another cool clay taupe shade. I love a matte eyeshadow stick especially. I do like these Hard Candy sticks because they definitely do dry down and have some staying power. If I am wearing a really emollient sunscreen and or I'm going to be very active that day, I will wear my eyeshadow primer underneath just to get some extra staying power, but I do have pretty good luck just wearing them by themselves as well. Then I have some from the e.l.f. No Budge eyeshadow stick line, and I actually think the formula of the e.l.f. is really similar to the Hard Candy. They feel really similar. They both dry down and lock into place in a similar way. I do think if you have super oily or very hooded eyelids, you may still want to pair an eyeshadow primer under these, but when it comes to eyeshadow sticks, I do think these have good staying power. This is the shade Magnetic Pull. You can see I'm a big fan of taupe. I don't think I said the name of this one. This is Rose Gold, this is Magnetic Pull, and then this is the last of my e.l.f. eyeshadow sticks. This is the shade Copper Chic. Another beautiful color. I love wearing that all over the lid as a one and done shadow. And then the wild card here is the Urban Decay eyeshadow stick in Fishbowl. This is a really fun but very bright blue color. I actually don't care for this Urban Decay eyeshadow stick formula. I find that it looks kind of dry and chalky, honestly kind of similar to how that Sigma eyeshadow stick is. I can't wear it all over the lid or it just looks really dry. So I'll either use it as a pop of color in the inner corner or as a liner. Honestly, I'm thinking I really don't need to hold on to this any longer. I think if I want to wear this color in the inner corner or as a liner, I have plenty of powder eyeshadows that can achieve the same look. So I am going to pass on Urban Decay Fishbowl finally. I am going to keep the rest of these though. All of these shades are great for a one and done look, and these are also great for what I've heard Emily Noel refer to as lazy liner. I love that concept because I'm a big fan of lazy liner. I don't like spending a lot of time like being really particular about my eyeliner, but all of these shades are really great, especially on the lower lash line, for just a quick smudgy liner. They're not too dark for my eyes, so they all of them are nice and soft. I don't have to really blend them. I can just kind of, blend them out with my finger, and it's just really easy. So yeah, all of these I think are very useful and valuable to my collection. These are my liquid eyeshadows. I have 3. I do want to keep these 2. We have the LA Girl Dream Glitter in Rose Gold. This is a really pretty rose gold topper, and I have had this for such a long time that I don't think I can really pass it on to anyone else. So I'll just keep it and either use it up or keep it until it dries out. Okay, it doesn't look that flattering in the swatch, but on the eyes this is a really pretty, just like iridescent, glittery topper. I'm starting to have some windowing in here, so I would like to try and use this up at some point. And this is the Hard Candy Eye Def Metallic Eyeshadow. It doesn't have the name on here, but this is the really fun purple one. I do think these Hard Candy liquid eyeshadows are not that impressive formula-wise. I did find them pretty hit or miss. I used to have 2 or 3 other shades that I decluttered because they just weren't that special. I don't love the way they blend out on the eyes. I do find them a little bit challenging, but this shade specifically I think is really special. I love how shifty and almost duochrome it is. I just think it's kind of fun and, I don't know, just fun to have. So I'll keep it. Then this is the Danessa Myricks Color Fix Liquid Pigment in the shade Nude 4. I was really not impressed with this. I don't know. I had really high hopes for it, But I got this to kind of serve as a multi-purpose product. These are really cool because you can use them on the eyes, the lips, the cheeks. They're great for makeup artists especially. I think is kind of what they're intended for. They would be great in a makeup artist kit. I just couldn't really get this to work for me. It doesn't have great staying power on the eyes, even worn on top of an eyeshadow primer. I also was hoping that I would be able to use this as a bronzer, but I really did not like the way it blended out on my cheeks as a bronzer. It was almost just too pigmented. And I don't know, I just find it looks a little bit dry and heavy. A little bit of this goes a very long way, but even still, like, as bronzer, it just wasn't a very elegant formula, and I have liquid bronzers that I'm way more likely to reach for than this. So I actually think this is still pretty new to my collection. I'm gonna pass this on because I know a lot of people love these, and so maybe somebody else can get this to work for them, but I also tried this on the lips and it just wasn't flattering. It wasn't flattering. The color would kind of settle into my lip lines, and, you know, I like the color, but again, I have lip colors that I'm way more likely to use, so this just didn't end up being nearly as useful to me as I was hoping it would be. My favorite within this eyeshadow category would have to be my potted singles. I love these so much. I don't know if I'm going to get rid of any of these, but let's go ahead and swatch them out and just take a look. So this is the Danessa Myricks Infinite Chrome Flakes in the shade Strobe Light. Really fun and unique product. I'm afraid this is starting to get a little bit more dried out. It's definitely still usable, but I can tell it's not as like wet in there as it was when I first got it. But a really fun, glittery topper. And speaking of toppers, I also have the Flower Beauty Chrome Crush Pressed Pigment in Quartz. I love this. I'm definitely not getting rid of this. It is just a beautiful topper. Then we have the Ulta Beauty Lustrous Foil eyeshadow in Rose Gold Leaf. This is a very flaky, almost like a pressed loose pigment, if that makes sense. Like, it's very flaky in there, so you have to be careful, but it is just stunning. All of these are nice because you can either apply a little bit or build them up to be much more intense. I mean, that is kind of similar to the Flower Beauty, but it's a little bit more foiled, which I like. Then this is ColourPop Ritz. I love this. This is great as either a topper or one and done shadow. I really like that it has a nice translucent beige base to it, so it does work really well by itself. And then my other ColourPop Super Shock here is a Little Quirky, which is kind of similar to Ritz, but a little bit deeper and a little bit more bronzy. Then we have the Surratt Soufflé eyeshadow in the shade Gris Dew. This is such a fun, like, it feels like gelatin when you touch it. It really doesn't look that impressive when you swatch it, but on the eyes I think this is a beautiful kind of smoky, translucent taupe shade, kind of like, wow, it looks really ugly in the swatch, not gonna lie. Why does it look like that? On the eyes, this is gorgeous. I actually find that it blends really well. It's really easy to work with on the eyes. I guess it just doesn't swatch well. But I feel like this is one of those, it just looks very sophisticated on the eyes. We have the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize Cream Shadow in Rose Gold. Then this is the Merit Solo Shadow in Studio. And last but not least, we have our wild card. This is Wildflower from e.l.f. This is their No Budge cream eyeshadow, which is a lie. It is not No Budge, but it is a really cute color. Yeah, you know what? I don't want to get rid of any of these. I love them all. The only one I was considering getting rid of was the e.l.f. No Budge cream eyeshadow, but I really don't have anything else like this, and even in my powder shadow collection, my palettes, my singles, I really don't have anything that has this kind of look to it. And I have, even though this isn't No Budge on its own, unfortunately, I have definitely figured out how to make it work. And honestly, I think even if I didn't want to top this with other powder shadows, I could just top it with a translucent face powder to lock it in, and that would work just fine. So I do want to keep this just because I love this color. I love a fun pastel pop of lavender all over the lid. Even just by itself in the springtime, I think it is just such a fun look. And yeah, I'm just not quite ready to be done with this one yet. So all the other ones I love, and like I said, this is one of my favorite categories of my collection, so I don't want to get rid of any of them. All right, so in this category of eyeshadow bases and liquid and cream eyeshadows, I'm keeping 18 and decluttering 5. The next category I want to look at is my brow products. This is a really small category, so this won't take long, but we have my NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Tint Pen in Taupe. I'm definitely keeping this. I love having a brow pen. I find that these give the most realistic looking hair-like strokes, and the shade Taupe is perfect. It really matches my brow hair color perfectly, so keeping that for sure. Then this is the Ardell Brow Glue Instant Lamination Lift. I have kind of a love-hate relationship with this product. I love it because it laminates my brows like nothing else. I have never tried a brow glue that works as well as this one does for giving that laminated look. The only problem I have with it is that you have to be very careful with it, especially the longer I've had it open. I've had this open since I think December of 2023, so I've had it open for like 8 months. I think it's definitely starting to thicken up a little bit. I'm probably going to have to retire it soon. But the problem I have with this is that you have to be careful not to apply too much, or else it will kind of get on the skin around your eyebrows, and it really does act like a glue. Like, it feels like you're combing Elmer's glue through your brows, which I love because it makes my brow hairs lay flat against my face, which I really like because I have very wiry, unruly brow hairs, and so this really keeps them stuck in place, and I love that. But it has to be the first thing you apply. You can't apply this after you've applied your foundation, or else it'll kind of lift up the foundation a little bit, mix with it, you'll get little white crusties. Sometimes I still get that even if I apply it before foundation, if I apply too much of this, but you have to apply a decent amount to really, you know, get it to have that laminated look. You can't just be really gentle with it. You do have to kind of comb through and make sure it coats every brow hair. So definitely a finicky product. I definitely don't think this is for everyone. But if anyone has found a clear brow glue like this that really does glue the brows down, but that doesn't ever look obvious in your brows, please let me know, because after this is gone, I think I will be on the hunt for something similar. But yeah, I do have to admit it's a very finicky product, even though I really enjoy what it does for my brows. It's just kind of a high maintenance, we'll put it that way. I was really hoping the NYX Brow Glue would be similar to that. This I got in the shade Taupe. I was really hoping this would be like a 2-in-1 like brow glue that also would kind of fill in and tint my brows. It does have a nice taupe shade. This is a very, like, you can see, kind of stringy, like as it comes out. It's definitely gluey. I don't get the white flakies with this, but the problem with this is it really doesn't laminate my brows and glue them to my face like this does, which is what I want. So this I treat more just like a tinted brow gel. It does have good hold compared to a lot of brow gels, but the hold is not nearly what the Ardell Brow Glue is. So that's that. I will keep both of those because I do have a use, like I can use this NYX Brow Glue, it's just not quite what I was hoping for. I am going to have to declutter this NYX Thick It Stick It Brow Gel. I got this, so this I repurchased. This is the second one of these that I've had. In the past I had the shade Cool Blonde and loved it. So I'm not sure what compelled me to change shades, but I decided to try the shade Taupe just because I'm usually taupe in other NYX brow products. Big mistake, I should have stuck with Cool Blonde. It was like, I don't know. Cool Blonde worked great for me, so I really didn't need to change it. The issue with taupe is that it's just a little bit too dark for my brows, and it often just ends up looking way too obvious in my brows, and that's kind of not the point of this product for me. What I loved about Cool Blonde is that this I could use as my all-in-one brow product. It is pigmented enough that it will fill in my brows for me, but it has actually really strong hold. It's not quite like the Ardell Brow Glue, but it's like a nice, really like kind of fluffy, thickening, sticky brow gel. It can get a little sticky, so you don't want to over apply. But anyway, taupe just looks unnatural on my brows. Cool Blonde was a much better shade. It's a little bit lighter. My only gripe with this is that the brush, if the brush were smaller in this taupe shade, I think it would actually work much better for me. But because the shade is just a little too dark, it's too pigmented, really is what it is. So this is still actually really new. I've only had it for a couple months and I've used it just a handful of times. So I'm going to find a new home for this. So the brow category was pretty easy and straightforward. I'm keeping 3 and decluttering 1. Next up we have my eyeliners. So I have 2 liquid eyeliners, a brown and a black. The black one is this Kaja Wink stamp. This came with both this, which is like a felt tip liner pen, along with that like winged eyeliner stamp thing. That did not work for my eye shape, so I decluttered that real quick. This I held on to because I didn't have any other black liquid liners, but I just don't wear black liquid liner anymore. Like, I really just don't. If I ever do want to wear black eyeliner, I'll either wear a black pencil or a black eyeshadow. I prefer the softer look that those give, but I really don't love a sharp black liquid liner on myself anymore, so I really just don't think there's a reason for me to keep this because I'm just not using it. I do like a brown liquid liner though. This is the Annabelle Eye Ink, and it's actually a dual-ended eyeliner pen. So this has two different shaped felt tips. So there's a shorter one and then a longer one. This is definitely not my favorite brown liquid liner, but it definitely gets the job done. I've had this for quite a while now, but I'm just going to keep it until it dries out. Then I have two black eyeliner pencils. I really think I only should keep one of these. I have the CoverGirl Exhibitionist 24-Hour Kohl Eyeliner in black. A perfectly fine black liner pencil, just very average. It's nothing revolutionary, but it gets the job done for what I need. And then I have the Rimmel Scandaleyes Waterproof Gel Pencil, which is also a nice black pencil. I really haven't used this one very much. I think I've maybe just used it a handful of times. I really don't need to keep both of these. The Rimmel one, I feel like I could sharpen this and pass it on to someone. The CoverGirl one is definitely much older, so I would rather keep this and use it up. So I'm going to keep the CoverGirl and pass on the Rimmel. Okay, I have one brown eyeliner pencil, and this I recently bought at Dollar Tree. It's the LA Colors Shimmer Auto Eyeliner in the shade Majestic. So it's a shimmery brown. This is a total dud, I'm not gonna lie. It's just not a good eyeliner. It doesn't set down, so it doesn't have great staying power. Sometimes I don't mind that, like if it's something that's nice and smudgeable and easy to wing out, easy to manipulate. The thing with this is I can use it as a smudgy winged liner, but if I use like an angled liner brush to wing it out, it takes away the color and it just ends up looking murky. Like, it doesn't look brown. It just kind of looks like a grayish color. It just has a very waxy consistency, and yeah, it was a mistake. I shouldn't have bought this, honestly. It was only $1, but it was just, I don't know. I was just curious to see if it was any good, and it's honestly not. So yeah, lesson learned, maybe don't buy eyeliner at Dollar Tree, but yeah, I'm not gonna keep this. It's just a dud. So then another brownish color I have, this is the CoverGirl Perfect Point Plus eyeliner in gray khaki. Really pretty kind of greenish taupe shade. I will keep this. This is definitely pretty old. I would like to just use it up. This is also not something that locks into place. It's not waterproof, but I like it because it's just really easy to smudge, easy to wing out. I don't really need my eyeliners to be completely waterproof most of the time. As long as they don't smear all over the place, which this one doesn't, I'm happy, so I will keep that. And then the other CoverGirl Perfect Point Plus liner that I have is Midnight Blue, and this is a nice deep navy blue. It just crumbled off. That does happen sometimes with these. You have to be careful not to twist up too much. But yeah, same story with this as with the gray khaki shade. I've had this for a really long time, so I'm not going to pass it on to someone, but I will go ahead and just use it until it's gone. This is such a fun color. It's the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil in Overdrive. This is a beautiful emerald green. I love this color, so I am going to keep this. I also have 3 of these NYX Epic Wear liner sticks. These are a fantastic long-wearing formula at the drugstore. They're very creamy. They come in a lot of fun colors. This is the shade Chill Blue. I have resolved not to buy any more colorful eyeliners because I don't use them very often, but this is really fun to use, and it's a formula that actually stays pretty well in the waterline. I don't think anything completely stays 100% in the waterline, but these actually do stay pretty well compared to most eyeliners. And then we have Periwinkle Pop, which is a really pretty lavender purple shade. I love pastel colors like that. These are really fun on the lower lash line especially. And the other one I really like on the lower lash line as well, you can tell this is my most used of the 3 by how much I've sharpened it. This is the shade Rose Gold. I love this because it adds just a little bit of definition to my lower lash line, because you can see it's like the slightest bit deeper than my skin tone, but it has this beautiful rose gold shimmer to it, so it's a nice just kind of shimmery pop on the lower lash line that's still very neutral. It goes with a lot of different things, so I love that. And then I also have the Essence Extreme Lasting Eye Pencil in Silky Nude. I don't find this that long wearing in the waterline, but it is nice when I want to brighten up the lower waterline or just the lower lash line. And as I was saying earlier in the video, I think this is going to be a good base for a colorful winged liner when I want to use eyeshadow as liner. So this is a good thing to keep in my collection. I do think it's pretty good for such an inexpensive eyeliner. So in the eyeliner category, I'm keeping 9 and decluttering 3, which means I decluttered 25% of my eyeliners. Next category is lashes. I have 2 mascaras at the moment. One is open, and that is the 100% Pure Fruit Pigmented Mascara in Black Tea. And then this one is unopened still. It's the Ciate London Wonder Wand Mascara. I am really trying to only have one mascara open at a time whenever it's possible. So the one I'm trying, I actually just opened this for the first time today, the 100% Pure, so this is going to be the one that I use for the next few months. And then assuming this goes well and I like it, then I won't open the Ciate one until this one is finished. But that is what I have as far as mascara right now, so not going to get rid of either of those. Then these are all of my false lashes. I really enjoy these Ardell Seamless Underlash Extensions, and I hardly ever wear false lashes of any kind, but I really like these. They're so much easier to apply to me than your typical strip lashes that go on top. These go underneath the lash line. They come in these little clusters, and I just find them so much easier to use. Comes with this Bond and Seal special glue that you use with it, so you don't use regular lash glue with these, you use this. So I'm going to keep these, and I'm actually going to get rid of all my other false lashes because I just have to be honest with myself, I never use regular false lashes, so there's no point in keeping these, letting them take up space in my drawers. This is the Duo Lash Glue. This works with regular false lashes, but not with the seamless lashes, so I just don't have a need to keep this, and I don't have a need to keep any of these. Even though I'm sure these are all beautiful, I have to be honest with myself. So these, the ones that are unused will find new homes, and the ones that have been used I will just be getting rid of. Also just wanted to add this in quickly to the end of this video. There's one more eyeshadow palette that I want to declutter from my collection that wasn't decluttered in my most recent palette declutter, which is pretty recent. But there's one more that I've decided to go ahead and declutter, and it is this one right here. This is the Clarity Cosmetics So Amazing palette. This has been such a treasure in my collection for the past few years, but these shadows have started to crumble and just get really messy. And I have heard that from other people as well, where sometimes people will just open their palette and one of the shades will be completely shattered. And I feel like I am just counting down the days until that happens to me. This shade keeps crumbling, this shade keeps crumbling, and I've realized that that fact alone has really kept me from wanting to reach for this palette. Even though I love the shimmers in here, they have just gotten so messy, and I have other beautiful shimmers in my collection. I feel like I've gotten a ton of use out of this. The other reason I want to get rid of this is because I really don't care for the matte pastels in here. I just don't find that they show up well on my already very fair skin tone. These are really light pastels. I know I could depot these shades, but because they're so fragile as it is, I really just don't want to go to the trouble. So I feel like I have gotten lots of use out of this. I definitely feel like I've gotten my money's worth out of it. I've even hit pan on one of the shades in here, but I am just ready to move on. So this one is going to be joining this declutter as well. I don't need to go through all my palettes again because, like I said, I just decluttered my palette collection not very long ago. So that's the only other palette I want to declutter right now. So just to wrap up this declutter, the total number of items I decluttered is 17, which is all of these things on the bottom here, and then this is what I'm keeping. I'm keeping 34 items, so that means I decluttered about 33% of this collection. That is pretty typical for my declutters, but it feels really good. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. I'll link the previous declutters in this series down below. And stay tuned because I think I have one more declutter coming to wrap up the series, and that'll be all of my singles and depotted shadows. So really excited for that one. If you want even more content from me, I do also have a Patreon and a channel membership where I upload an extra vlog and makeup video every month. So I'd love to have you over there as well. Otherwise, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye!